Hello, it is Lori B. Grungy Girl Journals. And I've just been sitting here probably for the last half hour, and I just have a question. Why is it so hard for us people who film these things? Why is it so hard for us to sit down and just turn on the camera and start talking? I mean, I think it is easy for some people. Um, it's not easy for me. I I want to do it. Once I'm started and the words are flowing, I'm okay. But it's that, that anticipation of being able to say words, and then you turn on the camera and then the words aren't there. And it's scary. So I've just been kind of sitting here, staring at this cute journal and then looking at all the encyclopedias that I have on my desk, which is ridiculous. I don't think I've picked up any of them. There are one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There are 10 old encyclopedias on my desk, and they've been there. I should do something about that. Anyway, so I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this cute journal and I'm wondering what I'm going to say. And then I got mad at myself and I just hit the on, and hopefully I will be able to make a little bit of sense out of what I'm saying. So this is Funny Girl. And there was really the reason why I named her Funny Girl is because I love funny girls. This journal has a lot of personality. And when I finally decided on the picture, the old photograph that I was going to use on the front of this journal, I always call it the Funny Girl photo. So, perfect name to me for this journal is Funny Girl. She came together beautifully. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was really great working with all of the different textiles and old lace, and I would even say vintage, antique. Some of it's antique lace, and just aging it up, and I just super happy with it. This has sold to a person with an L initial, so I put that on there. And then here's a beautiful, rusty, grungy, yucky key. I'll tell you where I got that in a minute. It's on a little bulb safety pin. And this fabulous piece right here is a rusted piece of, I think it's brass. I'm not positive, but it's a nice, has a nice weight. And I got this from Irma at Jillsy Journals. She has a YouTube channel, so please check her out. She makes absolutely beautiful journals, and she does rust boils, boils. And a lot of you know what that is. Some of you don't. It's basically taking textiles and paper and all sorts of different types of paper, index cards, and um, wrapping it all in, bundling it all together and layering it, and then covering it with fabric or whatever you want, and then tying a string around it and inserting rusty pieces of metal to give you this is probably from a rust boil. I got this from another really creative person, Debbie Kip's Corner. This was probably from a rust boil as well. So what ends up happening is you never know what's going to happen. You get these beautiful patterns, and they literally put them in a pot on the stove. Excuse me, on the stove, and do all this magic stuff with things and throw it all in there, and then they open it up and they have all this beauty. And Irma does a fantastic job, and she sent me some. Some of it was paper, some of it was fabric, some laces, and also some metal bits. So that's where I got this key, and that's where I got this from. And I think I even got this from her too. It's kind of a, one of those things that are put on boxes, like the closure thing for for boxes. And all I did was I took some Tim Holtz wax, forget what it's called now, but it is like a little pot of wax, and I sealed the metal pieces so that that pretty patina would stay on there. So this is Funny Girl. I used a lace that I got a couple of years ago off of Facebook Marketplace. And then this is a women's 1800s blouse. I believe this was the ruffle in the front of the blouse. I didn't quite have enough of it to go all the way around. So also what I had in my stash was a christening gown, vintage christening gown that was similar. So I just used that to finish it off. So let me show you what this lace looks like and how much I got. It's ridiculous. I got a bunch of it. And I don't know if you can see the back, but there's little stitches. And I don't know how they did this, but it looks handmade. It really is. And I don't know how they did it, but it was listed as French Chantilly lace, but I've never seen any like this. And really, that is just a ribbon, and it's, formed on there and then sewn on. And I have never seen anything like it. When I got it, it was not cheap. This was not cheap, but I got as much of it as I could and look forward to using it again. And what I did was, the way I cut the skirt was I did it organically. I kind of followed the pattern on the lace because I didn't want to cut any of that off. And I just spot tea stained it. I didn't dunk it in tea. I just I took a syringe and squirted tea on it here and there. It's got a double closure. It's got the ribbon, vintage ribbon, as well as a snap. Just show you the inside. So I put the lace on another piece of christening gown. You can see the seam right there on the side from the side of the dressing gown. And you can see my stitches. I did not, sorry about the shadows. Kind of dark in my house today. I sewed this on. I really, really try hard not to glue things together, especially lace, because and this is just me, I feel like I'm kind of disrespecting the lace. And if anybody ever wanted to use it for another purpose years down the line, uh, or whatever, if you glue it on, it's really, it kind of ruins it. So I have sewn this on, and it just has a better finish to it. So it's all hand sewn. And here is the tag. And there's a piece of mica tile. I got that from Amazon. There you can see it. And this is a frame that was actually a table set, those place you put the person's name, and it was like a frame, and that tells them where to sit at the table. So that's what this was. So I just grungied it up with some distress inks and oh gosh, I must have done these 4 years ago. I have a couple of them left. This is just a little bit of trim, more trim. And this is from my jewelry days when I made jewelry. So I guess it was for a necklace or a bracelet, and you put the jump rings there, which I left on. Here's the pack. And these were actually screws right here. And I was able to cut most of, the pointy part in the back. I cut it down, but it was still sticking up a little bit. So I just put some glossy accents on there and nothing's going to catch. And yeah, this is a pocket right here if you want it to be. Here is the journal. Did my faux stitching on the spine. This does not hold the book together. And I get a lot of questions about this, and it's not hard. It's for looks, and um, you basically do all of your finishes on whatever paper you're going to use. This was one of Irma's from her rust boil, and I think it was a piece of artist like like a watercolor paper because it had this, at the top where you tore off the pages. And whenever you introduce water to paper, of course, it's going to make it a little more fragile. So I had to toughen the paper up a bit if I was going to use it for a cover. And the way I did that was I reinforced the spine with some paper tape, which this is, I believe, Dina Wakley, but you can also use medical paper tape as well. And it inks nicely too. So I did several layers of that. I think I might have even done a little bit of masking tape as well on the corners right here, on the edges. And uh, I use different matte mediums. Let's see. This is the Tim Holtz Distress Crackle Paint, and very important, it's the Crackle Paint Translucent. And this used to be called Rock Candy from him, and he changed it to Crackle Paint. And you can see it's translucent, it dries clear, and I really love this stuff. It is very different from this. This is Tim Holtz Crackle Paste. And although this is translucent as well, it's going to give you a different look. You can put this on with, a little spatula, or you can do it through a stencil. But this is more what I like, and it just gives a nice overall finish. You get the crackles, but you also get a shine to it, which some people don't like, but you can always knock that shine off with uh, some some matte medium on top of it, and you're going to get rid of that shine, and you're going to get more texture. So this is what I use. I love it. He is still making this, thank goodness. He also makes, and I think I used a bit of this, which is Distress Collage Medium Crazing, and it gives you that crazing that you get on, you see it on old fine china, those little tiny little cracks. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. So just, you hold your mouth just right, maybe you'll get a good crazing on it. I think I got most of my crackles from the crackle paint. And then you go over it with inks. I sprayed inks on here, and I put a couple of pieces of old ledger on it as well. And I wanted to show you how this first started out when Irma sent it to me. And this is some more of what she sent me. I don't think this is exactly the same paper. It might be, but as you can see, it's yummy. But it degrades the paper in some areas quite a bit. So you always want to reinforce reinforce it if you're using it, especially for a cover. And that's what the paper tape and the crackle paint, all these dry almost like a shell. And once everything was done, oh, and this also had different layers of things that she had placed in her boil. Like this was a check, looks like the back of a check, and you get that impression. So you'll see on the book that you can kind of see through there that there was a card laying here. But then the actual texture part was achieved by the crackle paint. And when it was all done and everything dried, there's quite a bit of dry time for this kind of thing because the paper really soaks up the water, and I want to make sure that it gets like bone dry. But I also used my final step was, you're automatically going to get a few places that will the crackle will come off here and there. Let's see. And I filled those places in. I wanted to do a lot on the edges because, they're more fragile there. Right there. I filled all those places in with glossy accents, and that's going to make it even stronger. So there's little spots throughout here where I put glossy accents. I put some here. I put some around the holes there. You can see where it really came off here. So there's some glossy accents in there. And I would always let that dry overnight. And I just kind of finished off. I wanted it to be pretty simple. So I finished it off, and when I got to the end of the cord, this is a thread. This is binding thread that I get off of Amazon. I just used the excess, and I've done this in a journal before. This type of decoration where you just kind of use it as the stem for the flower. And this is a very old piece, old piece of a collar. Oh, I hate that those shadows are there. This is beautiful lace, and it was very hard to cut, but it did have a couple bad spots in it, so I didn't feel too bad. There you can see the glossy accents. And this is actually just a silk flower, that you get for arrangements. And I took it apart, and then I painted it with some white gesso, and then inked it and just sewed it back together. For a little bit. And you have to say hi to Louie. Sweet girl. So here's the inside. And this can take quite a bit of abuse. Usually what I do, because it gets stiff when it's been, see, it lays nicely. It gets kind of stiff when it's been closed a while with the skirt on it. So I just kind of loosen it up a little bit. And here's the inside. And then I just carried the collar over into the inside. It's not a pocket or anything. I don't think it can handle any wear and tear like that. So it's just on there. This is a quilt, a piece of a quilt. And as you can see, this is just that one piece of art paper. And then the inside cover is all one piece of material. All that. This is one piece of material right here, all the way through. So I sewed the signature block, all the pages, I sewed that into just a block. And then with this, sorry here, the words aren't coming out, with this, and then I glued this in onto the fabric. And then what well, it was sorry, it was sewn, the fabric was sewn with the signature block. So, you know, it was all sewn together, and then I glued the entire signature block with these onto the art paper. Did that make any sense whatsoever? That was horrible. It's hard to explain, but it's not easy, but it's not hard either. Really, it's just getting it all lined up and getting enough glue on there to where it's not going to come up. And I hope you can figure it out. I would never attempt this on camera. It would be impossible to get it lined up and glued. I mean, that would just be a nightmare for me to try to do that on camera. So this is one whole piece right here. All this is one whole piece, and it was glued on to this outer piece. And that gave me the book. So this is a piece of wax paper maybe that I did some stuff on, and it was just, left over on my desk and has a really nice texture to it. Some of it's falling off. So that's the beginning. That's the fly paper at the beginning. I used this really sweet hanky, and it says right there, whenever you are creating beauty around you, you are restoring your own soul. And I really do believe that art is very important to me. And, it's my quiet place. And I feel like I'm restoring myself when I'm able to create. And sometimes I'm not able to because I'm just too tired, but I always look forward to being able to do it. And so that kind of said me perfectly. And I found this ribbon trim that went perfectly with the hanky. So I just did a little cluster right there with a piece of old lace. And it already had its own rusty patina on there. So this book is a combination of Irma's rusty boil papers and my own papers. I don't do rusty boils. I'm dying to do it. It seems like I'm uh I just don't think I can do it as good as Irma. But so happy that she sent me these, and I just couldn't I loved working with them. So some of them are hers and some of them are mine. You can see how everything was layered up and then all bundled together. The cute little card right here. I don't really understand it, but bought that from somewhere. And this lifts up. I don't know. And then it's got, see? I don't know. But I didn't want to glue it. So I just kind of stuck it in there and it'll be protected in there. It's just a part of a table runner, I believe. And this was just a part of another table runner, that little leafy looking thing. And I couldn't find my tiny attacher. I still haven't been able to find it. So I wanted to staple that on. So I got my regular stapler and I went to staple it and it didn't have any staples in it. So I had to glue it. And I tried to just use a an assortment of different old papers from books. And this is from a cute little book. It's about an old man and his tenant, a person that he rents a room from him. There's a lace and fabric cluster, an old button. Did some stenciling right there with some modeling paste. There's an up tuck pocket. And really, I just put interesting things in here. This was in that book. It's pocket reading guide for those reading it, and it goes through each section of the book. This is from a doily. It's just an old chat. And this is a pattern to a pinafore. A milk cap. And I threaded some seam binding to there. And I reinforced the paper with some fabric on both sides, just so it wouldn't tear. This is I think that has something to do with an RCA. Victrola was a repair done on one, 1947. This is from a typing book. Piece of Swiss dot. I rusted up some clips. I just tried to include some fun things. This is some really old lace. Look at that. It's kind of like an old maid card. She's called Sweet Corn, the gardener's daughter. This is from a French book. My reader. This is the paper clip. And I made this cute little tag with a lace cluster. Some little rhinestones up there. This is Rufus. Here's tag number 1. And I had so much fun making this. Took a while to figure out how to do it to where they would lay flat, but they're all individually stitched on there from the loop at the top of the safety pin. And I just used graduating sizes, kind of create that tag shape to it. This is one of those overall clips. So the rest of that. And this was it looks like a tapestry. And this says, "Where I create, there I am true," with some more stenciling with modeling paste. This was interesting. It's like a chart of some kind. I don't know if you can see that. This is a super old piece of lace. You should see this in person. I've got a big piece of this as well. The railroad, wages, audited accounts and wages payable. And it's shares or insurance. 1923. The middle. Here's the other side of that envelope. And I just stuck some things in there, some labels and a few little goodies. Some hidden paper clip. I'm not going to take everything off. I'll let the new owner do that. Another piece of old lace. And this is from my mother's. She went to beauty school way back in the day. And that's just a piece of torn page out of that. This is pattern 2. It shows you the rollers. This has to do with planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. 27, 1927, 28, 29, and 30. 23 to 4 to 5 to 6. Some tatting. And this says, "Art is longing. You never arrive, but you keep going in the hope that you will." Lots and lots of journaling space in here. The typing book. Put some washi tape, some old lace. Listed up some of these big hairpins. You can also use these as like a hidden paper clip as well. But I think they're so neat looking just on their own. Looks like something my mother would have used at beauty school. And this is beautiful. Just designs, Moorish. This is super old. This is the back of a collar. Very, very fragile. That is tag number 2. And these are vintage snaps. I don't know if you can see that. And these are from a table runner, a different table runner, some music paper. I did my stitching. And then this has a hidden pocket with 3 vintage buttons. Come on. You can use this as a bookmark. Just a pretty little feather you put together. You can use it as a bookmark or just something pretty. And this one says, enjoy every moment, every breath, every beautiful thing. And here is my signature card and some goodies in here, some old lace. Here's the back of the hanky. The end. So I think I forgot to show you the top view with the tags in there, but I just love how everything just kind of sticks out. So that is Funny Girl. Thanks for visiting with me today. I hope it wasn't too long. I did go over what I normally try to do, which is around 20 minutes. I'm at almost 40 minutes. It's my tags. And there's the skirt. And that will be it for this time. I will see you all next time. Bye.